All right, we're gonna start on the ground. Let's come on to a tabletop position. Palms open, fingers spread, right below the shoulders, straight line, elbows locked. Toes on the ground, knees below the hips on a straight line. Very easy. We're not gonna move the head. We're just gonna move the low back and the pelvis. Inhale to arch, exhale to round. On the inhale, the tailbone tries to point up to the ceiling. On the exhale, the tailbone points down to the ground. On the inhale, we're engaging the low back muscles. On the exhale, we're engaging the front hip flexors and stretching the low back muscles, minimizing and avoiding movement on the head, on the shoulders, just the low back. Take it all the way, full range of motion. Inhale, tailbone pointing up. Exhale, tailbone pointing down. Inhale, exhale. Breath with the movement 2 more times. From here, we're gonna move on to our back and we're gonna do the exact same movement face up. Toes touching, heels apart, knees together. We're gonna go with the arms to the sides, palm face up. Ideally all 10 nails touching the floor. Chin in. And again, we're focusing on the pelvis only. Inhale, arch, exhale, round. And just think about, on the inhales, there should be space underneath your low back to get a whole hand underneath there. On the exhale, we try to crush the spine, the vertebrae, the bones to the ground. On the inhale, we try to lift them up to the sky. On the exhale, we crush them to the ground. Another point of reference is the tailbone. On the inhale here, the tailbone points down. On the exhale, the tailbone points up. On the inhale, the tailbone points down. On the exhale. Another point of reference, you could have your fingers touching here, the anterior superior iliac crest. We can just call it the pointy bone on the front of the hip. On the inhale, that's going to move forward. On the exhale, it's going to try to point back. On the inhale, you should feel it moving forward. On the exhale, pointing back. So we got the tailbone pointing down, pointy hip going forward, tailbone pointing up, bony piece pointing behind you. Another thing we can think of is the sacrum. The sacrum at the base of the hips. On the inhale, we're trying to drag that sacrum back towards our shoulders. On the exhale, it's like we're pushing that sacrum away towards our feet. Sacrum trying to move towards our shoulders, sacrum moving towards our feet. So we got the arch and round, which is primarily what we're looking for. The tailbone down and up, the hip flexors forward and back, the sacrum gliding back and forward. All right, from here, let's go face down and we'll work with the back extension. But before that, we're gonna warm up our hamstrings to avoid any so toes touching, ankles flexing, toes spreading, forehead on the ground, not the nose, not the chin. So not the chin, not the nose, forehead. So we're already thinking about tucking that chin in, okay? Arms here are gonna be back, not by the ears how we usually do it. Back, palm face down, not palm face up, because this means internal rotation of the shoulders. We want external rotation of the shoulders. But for now, the hands are on the ground, forehead on the floor, hamstring curls. Toes touch the floor, heels towards the glute. toes touch the floor. Squeeze the hamstring. Stretch the hamstring. Exhale as you curl, bending the knee. Inhale as you straighten the legs. So this should take care of any cramping, potential cramping on the hamstring during the back extension. Okay, now we're gonna keep the toes just an inch off the ground, toes touching, heels apart, knees squeezing, and we're just gonna lift the head up. We're not looking forward with the chin going forward and up. We're gonna keep our chin all the way in and lift the head. For now, just the arms on the floor and breathing. The head does not need to be super high off the ground. As long as there's no weight on it, that's a big win. The higher you can lift it up, the better. But do prioritize the chin in towards the chest. Try to breathe in and out through the nose. Chin in, back of the neck long. And then from here, we'll just pull back into a child pose. So big toes touch, knees wide apart, hips towards the heels, torso towards the ground, forehead on the ground, and we're gonna do palms face up. Palms face up here. And just big breath here, resting, relaxing. Recuperating some energy here. And then slowly, let's go back for another round of back extensions. Same. Toes together, knees together, flex the ankles, toes off the ground. Start with the forehead on the ground, arms by the hips, palm face down. Spread the palms, spread the pinkies. Lift the head, chin in. Lift the head, chin in. Now we're gonna squeeze the shoulder blades and lift the arms off the ground. Focus on external rotation. So here we want our thumbs trying to point up towards the ceiling and the palms trying to point forward. Spread the pinky. Squeeze the toes, squeeze the knees, flex the ankle, chin in, chin in. Trying to lengthen the back of the neck. Big breath. Chin in, head up. Chin in, head up. Shoulders squeezing together, palms opening, fingers stretching. Knees squeezing, toes squeezing. Spread the toes, spread the fingers, separate the heels. And then slowly, back to child pose. Again, knees wide, toes touching. Sit back. And let's walk the hands and the torso to the right so we can get a nice stretch on the low back. Big breaths here. You can do palms face up as well. Heavy hips, heavy torso, heavy head. Back to center. And to the other side. Walk the hands and the torso to the left. Try to get heavy. Couple more big breaths. back to center. Taking a breath or two here to reset the spine straight. Third and final round of back extension. Belly on the ground, toes together, knees together, let the toes barely off the ground, forehead on the ground, palms face down, and then lift the head, tuck the chin, squeeze the shoulders, lift the hands, turn the palms, thumbs trying to point up. Focus on the breath, keep tucking the chin in. Spread the pinky, stretch that pinky back. And let's simply come back to child pose, palms face up. Just a few breaths here. And we'll come up to standing. So take your time, take a few breaths on your way up so you don't get lightheaded. Reset here. We're gonna go into a little bit of work for the shoulders while keeping awareness of our pelvis, hamstrings, and paraspinal muscles. So from standing up straight, we're gonna send the hips back, try to touch the wall behind you, and then come back to straight. Don't send your hips forward, just a little bit of hips behind the heels, and then all the way as far as you can. Find your hamstrings, your glutes, your paraspinals. Work with the chin staying tucked, work with the shoulders back, the palms open, that external rotation. Hips reaching back for the wall behind you, and then back up to straight, keeping a little bit of a hinge. Hips straight back, and repetitions. Trying to get your heart up, your hips back, your head back, the chin in. Think about that position we were just working with where the head was pulling away from the ground. A few more times. Good. Shake that off. Same thing, but now we're gonna keep the hips back and we're gonna work a little bit on the shoulders. The first thing we're gonna do is send the hips back, arms out to the side. Screwdrivers means external rotation of the shoulder, the arm, and the hand. Internal rotation of the shoulder, the arm, and the hand. So we can do it two different ways, your choice really. One option is to let the shoulder blades separate and the shoulders can protract here to exaggerate this internal rotation, and then the shoulders have more of a room to pull back. Arms, forearms, palms. So this is one option where the shoulders are moving. Second option is to keep the shoulders back, rhomboids engaged the whole time, and just move the arm, forearm, and hand. External rotation, internal rotation. Really emphasizing the external movement. And you can do this in a little hinge, you could do this on a deeper hinge, but we're focusing on the shoulders now. Notice I'm not really moving my arms in space, I'm just rotating them on their own axis. Okay, shake that off. Different. Now we're gonna go with the arms straight forward, hips a little bit back. We're gonna lock the arms like we have them on a splint. No bending of the elbow whatsoever. Just straight arms, palms facing towards each other, and we're gonna work on rhomboid squeeze, a shoulder retraction. So just send the shoulders back, squeeze them, send the shoulders forward. Hips back a little bit, check your toes in, heels out. Retract the shoulders, protract the shoulders. No movement of the elbow joint whatsoever. Couple more. Good, shake that off. And last movement we're gonna practice now is gonna be our split platter. So we're gonna keep the shoulders retracted like we were just working them, retract the shoulder, pin the elbows in. We have palms facing up with the pinkies touching. This is gonna be our starting position. Pinkies touching, thumbs wide to the sides. We're gonna inhale and simply externally rotate. So now our thumbs are trying to point and touch back behind us, and then the pinkies are gonna come back to touching. So inhale, external rotation of both arms, exhale. Okay. We add a little bit of a hinge. Weight on the glutes, on the hamstrings, on the paraspinals. Check the chin, the head position, the shoulder position. And let's try 3 to 5 more repetitions here. Working that retraction of the shoulder, external rotation of the shoulder. Maybe one more. Nice, shake that off. We're gonna check the time, see how we're doing. All right, I think we have a little bit more. So how about we go back on the ground, how we started, face up. Actually, we started on tabletop. So on the ground, tabletop position, and let's go back to those tuck and tilts. So arch the low back and round, arch the low back and round. Inhale to arch, exhale to round, tailbone pointing up to the sky, tailbone pointing down to the ground. Through the movement. More movement on the pelvis than anything else. Mid back, upper back, neck should not be moving, shoulders should not be moving. Okay, now we can go on our backs, toes together, knees bent, feet are on the ground here, knees together, arms out to the side, palms face up, all 10 nails on the ground, chin in, and same movement, arch and round, arch and round. Remembering our cues, when we inhale, we arch, there should be enough space for our hand to go underneath, little bridge, and then we crush that spine down. On the inhale here, the tailbone is trying to point down to the floor. On the exhale, tailbone pointing up to the sky. On the inhale, your anterior hip bone is going towards the feet. On the exhale, that anterior hip bone is pointing towards your head. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Feel the sacrum. As you inhale, it's like it's trying to drag back towards your head. As you exhale, it's like it's pushing towards your feet. One more. And we'll finish with a little Shavasana, a little final resting pose here. So legs straight, arms straight. Get comfortable, and we'll just breathe here for a minute. Find your breath, find some stillness. Let your feet be heavy, legs heavy, hips heavy, torso heavy, arms, shoulders, head. Everything softens. Just relaxing here, letting the body integrate the work. And then we'll stretch our feet forward and our arms way back, then bend the knees, roll onto your side, maybe a couple breaths here. And then use your hands to help you come up to seated or back up to standing. All right, good work. We'll see you next time.